Absolute homecoming. I have a bit of a voice problem, so please bear with it. So this is neurologically the things I don't have. Has any of you seen Godfather? Movie Godfather? Huh? That's how I talk. That's my power. Okay. Notwithstanding that, I do have a small challenge, and there is a temporary solution, but being in Baroda, I couldn't take it. The temporary solution, this is truth, huh? Truth, absolute truth. I have to have two drinks. If I have two drinks, alcohol drinks, huh? Not Coca-Cola. Then temporarily for 3 to 4 hours, the voice becomes normal. If I had three, I can even say, okay. Anyway, it's such an honor and a privilege to be here. Karan, thank you. Hetal, Priti, Sandhya, thank you. So I have a couple of secrets to share. When I was like you all in college, the first 4 years of mine were vacation. I did everything that you ought not to do. So I did topos, I skipped classes, I manipulated the system, and at some point, I even led a delegation to postpone the third year architecture university exams and succeeded. So I'm definitely not a good role model. The other secret is I have a relatively fancy presentation, but I don't even know how to operate CAD. I do not know how to. The only thing I know how to operate is the Word document and Excel. Excel because I'm a banya, so I count money. So I need to. The rest, I just manage people. And that's what I do. I'm going to start now. So essentially, this is what we do. Disruptive architecture of 20th century. I started my career in 1975. I graduated from here 72, did masters from Pratt, came back 75. There was emergency, not much work for architects. And so I joined family business. So my first thing is I am an entrepreneurial architect. Everything must mean design, but it also must mean money, as far as I'm concerned. Money for me, money for the client. And that's what I'll discuss with you. So, as a very small steel trading company, within 3 years, we became number one, my brother and I, of India, and then expanded infinitely. Then we grew, and I decided architecture profession would never pay me. Talk about managing crisis, uncertainties. That was management of uncertainties. We just changed the course and re-engineered ourselves to get into something that would survive instead of struggling. I didn't have the tenacity that Karan had. So no matter what emergency or no, he sort of started his practice and flourished. In 1984, my business grew so much, but still I was this very insecure person. You spoke about insecurity. The insecurity I had was that India was fragmenting. There was Khalistan movement, there was Kashmir movement, there was Naxal movement. The southern states said, we have nothing to do with Hindi. All this kind of chaos, and we had one powerful leader, Indira Gandhi. And I said, what if a plane crashes? what will happen to this country? So out of insecurity, I said, let's create an alternative business space. So I went to US and I started building very expensive custom homes in amongst the prime most areas of America, Long Island. This is among the priciest area of America, pricier than Hollywood, Bel Air area of Hollywood. And one thing it's destiny, one thing led to another. And I started building the home. Now I'll share another secret. You see that the two images there? That was my first architectural design. I was a developer. And in the area that I built, these chaps built very simple homes like these. Homes like these. And I said, these Americans don't know how to live. So I'm going to teach them how to live. Okay, arrogance is not only currents, fourthly, it's mine also. It's okay, huh? So I said, I'll teach them how to live. So I created, I thought, beautiful house with a 20 feet courtyard in the center, atrium central. Any space you enter, you can see through. It's an open house, and still it sort of gave more space. It was about 6,000 square feet on 5 acres of land. Guess what? Of all the houses I built, that's the house that sold last. Nobody wanted it. What I did not do was understand what the stakeholders, what the people wanted. And so I made money, but sold it in discount. Notwithstanding that, those 2 years were amongst the best years of my life. And then this is that Long Island that I told you about. That's Manhattan here. And roughly somewhere here, I built. If you can read this name backwards, that street is in my name even today. And this project of 65 acres, anyone seen the movie Great Gatsby? Great Gatsby. Anyone? Yes? So this is the Gatsby area. And that caliber of people was the ones I was building homes for. And today, after 35 years, this is considered amongst the best development of the area. Just across, if you can see, is a golf course. And it's considered, when I go after 35 years and I talk to some Indians, etc., they say, Yo Mehta, my God, you set the trend. The issue is, I don't follow the herd. I try to set the trend after understanding what makes business sense. Everything must make economic sense because we are not creating some fancy issues that can not be economically viable for our clients. Clients have to make money. Clients have to be happy. If I'm building a home for you, then every stakeholder, the daughter, the son, the mother, mother-in-law, everyone, their needs have to understand. And that's what I learned over here. I became so famous that I was recorded in the 2 years in the who's who directory of Eastern Seaboard of America. This, sorry, yeah, this article, in this article, have you heard of the theory Sam, Dam, Dand, Ved? This article expresses how I came in 2 years and created a $43 million project in which I would make between 10 to 15 million dollars. That's the article about. And they asked me, what's the secret? And the secret, I said, is our old Indian scriptures of negotiating through the process of Sam, Dam, Dand, Ved. And the whole article writes about that. After that, I must have received at least 100 calls from America, within America, to say, can you guide us more about it? So there's a Japanese saying that vision without action is a daydream, and action without vision is a nightmare. So first, I'm going to share with you the nightmare. So since 1997, again, talk about uncertainties. Everything went wrong. I made crazy amount of money, and then my brother cheated me, and I had to come back to manage Indian businesses. And I was as good as on the road. I re-engineered myself, and I said, "But architecture to padha hai. Why shouldn't I be an architect?" And that's when I got into the Dharavi redevelopment project. But I was born with a golden spoon. My father was very wealthy, and I didn't know what poverty was. I didn't understand any of that. And somebody came to me and he said, because I talk big sometimes, as I tried to do earlier today in the meeting. So in that, I said, your slum scheme operated in Mumbai is useless. It is, it's not sustainable. So this chap calls me. It's an architect. He calls me a week later, and he says, can you build? He thought I'm a developer, which I was. He says, can you redevelop Dharavi? So I said, how many homes? He says, 50,000 homes. Without even knowing where Dharavi was, I said, yes, I'll do it. Okay. I'd been to Dharavi, but I did not know that area was called Dharavi. Now, put my foot in my mouth. Now, what do I do? So the first thing I did was set up an office in Dharavi and try to understand every stakeholder. Are they gundas? Are they underworld? What do they want? What are the challenges I have? Who will obstruct me? What will happen? Etc. And I had like this over a total of 2,000 meetings. These meetings were from 5 people to 2,000 people. And not just in Dharavi, in Karnataka, in elsewhere. I'll talk about it. So the first thing I did was try to understand the problem with my stakeholders. My earlier meeting with your staff was to first start what is the problem. Then we talk about solutions. Okay. And in doing so, there are 2, 3 things I discovered, which I'm going to share with you. The most important thing I learned was that slum dwellers are aspiring, intelligent, talented, hard-working people. They're not altu faltus who should be just your domestic help or your driver or something. They are brilliant people. At least 10% of them are smarter than I am. 90% of them worked harder than I did. That is the first thing that I learned. The second thing I learned was they come from the village because village does not provide them the opportunities that city provides. The third thing that I learned was because all our elders, in our case, elders, architects, teachers, sociologists, economists, they say the solution to slum or poor people is low cost housing, low rise housing, and that's what you do, sadly, up to today. In the bargain, that is most, I discovered this, the most unsustainable solution. And I'll explain. So I told you, I tried to understand the need of all the stakeholders. Now, when you talk of slums now, everyone says, usko kya chahiye? Garib aadmiyon ko kya chahiye? Boss, try to remember that he is a part of the city. The city is functioning based on taxpayers. So the most important person there contributing to anything in the economy is the taxpayer. And so I tried to study the needs of every stakeholder. So one is the taxpayer, the citizen. Second is the landowner whose land is encroached. He's another suffering chap. The slum chap has come and settled there. The third is the slum dweller. And the fourth is the government. There are other stakeholders also. But these are the key. So the citizen, the, ta the taxpayer says, year after year, the quality of my life is deteriorating. I pay taxes, but areas are not getting maintained. I'm not getting more amenities. Parks, all these things are not maintained. Okay? And this is not fair. Why should my tax be used to service the slum dweller who's cheating, who's taking away the water, who's stealing the electricity? We are giving schools, colleges, all this. Why should we do that? This is his gripe. The landowner says that I have bought this land with a lot of and it's encroached. Government is letting it happen. Should I lose back crores of rupees? Not fair. The slum dweller said, oops, what happened? Now you know I'm IT. Sorry. The slum dweller said, I have come to city to make money. So he's like Indian goes to America with 100. But over the period of time, that human resource is developed. And he could become head of PepsiCo or so. Slum dwellers remain drivers. He says, why should I not live the life of city? I also want. And finally, you have the government says, yes, all you guys are right, but I don't have that. So to please appease people, they come up with all these solutions since 1926. I hate to say, but these are peddled UN Habitat, World Bank, etc. And these are non-sustainable solutions, and so you'll find happening. It's changing on its own. You put it on automatic or what? No? It should be on click. So, notwithstanding that, essentially, no, go back. Can't I have my own laptop? Work with it. It's easier. So, automatically, I'm sorry about it. So, if you'll see, even after development, hmm? No, no, but it's going faster than it. Okay. Now, what you'll see is, even after the some development, it has kept poor people poor. It has perpetuated inequality, and it has kept these societies. This is the low cost, low-rise solution with basic MSC. This is a wrong. Now, our job is to reduce inequality. That is to improve the quality of life of everyone. My research, that I'm not an economist, I'm not a sociologist. And as per my confession to you, perhaps you should say, I'm not even an architect or urban. I am actually still. So I have analyzed that there are 8 factors that determine the quality of life. The first is quality of housing. Second is quality of infrastructure, healthcare, income generation, knowledge, environment. Sorry, knowledge, environment, socio-cultural development, and security. I have named it high hikes. Coined that word, high hikes. So the quality of high hikes determines the quality of life. So quality of high hikes, let us say, in Zurich is superior to quality of high hikes in Baroda. The quality of life, therefore, in Zurich will be superior to quality of life in Baroda. The quality of high hikes for all of us is superior to that of quality of high hikes of the poor. So the quality of our life is superior to quality of theirs. If we understand that, then we have to bridge that gap. Unless you bridge that gap, you cannot rehabilitate slums. You will have the same problem that we've had for the last 50, 60 million. So today, my scheme essentially says, get rid of the past thought process. Now, this scheme has got a lot of eminent architects angry with it. When I talk eminent, I'm talking of people who won crazy awards internationally, who have been my sort of godfather, god mentors kind of, and they're upset with me because they say I'm talking nonsense. But I'm saying this is their housing. In our projects, this is the kind of housing we give to slums. This is their infrastructure. This is what we give. Anything that the rest of the citizens use, the slum dwellers, the poor are entitled in my scheme. This is their health care. This is the health care my schemes provide for the slum. This is how they generate income. In my scheme, this is how they generate income. In Dharavi, I persuaded NID to set up a campus in Dharavi to create branding products in Dharavi. They don't have to have knockoff. This is their education. This is the education we have offered to people. This is their environment. This is what would happen for the slum. Socio-culture. In one of my schemes, we have allowed slum dwellers to use a golf course for 2 days. They can use a golf course and become experts in golf. They can use cricket pitch like you have also. All of that, they are also entitled because talent is not the monopoly of the rich and we can get talent from there. And you've seen India has talent, Saregama, the all this what IPL talent has come from such places, and they are also entitled to. So that is what got Dharavi project going. That is what got Dharavi project going. In this project, when I came, there were no takers. Today, this project will generate 1 lakh crores. 1 lakh crores is a big sum that the developer will make based on this whole thought that we need to relook at the slums and create opportunities where even the developer makes money. And that's what that project is. Mumbai Airport, how many of you have flown over Mumbai Airport? Some of you must have flown over Mumbai Airport and you see slums. So Praful Patel used to live in my building, Minister Praful Patel. Going down the left once, when he became the minister, I said, Praful, I can make your Mumbai Airport slum free. And I'll help you make 1,000 crores. He says, Mukesh, we are friends, but don't talk nonsense. My people are saying we require 1,080 crores and 500 acres of land. I said, Praful, trust me, I'll give you 1,000 crores and I don't want a piece of property. I went for the presentation I gave. Oops. This is ah, I'm sorry. So this was the image of the airport. I gave a present to the civil aviation minister, the airport authority, all these guys, and then they appointed me as a consultant. After that, they were able to privatize the airport. Up to today, on record, I'm their consultant. But this was the kind of things, this can never happen. This is what earlier you said about this college, and you inspired to say anything can happen. These are examples of anything can happen, at this kind of work. So, at some point in COVID time, I had nothing to do, kill time. And I spoke to I happened to meet the Deputy Chief Minister, who's also now again become Deputy Chief Minister, Ajit Dada Pawar. And he was the Finance Minister. I said, I can make all your 189 cities of, of Maharashtra slum. And after doing that, in a smart, sustainable, inclusive manner. But after doing that, I will be able to generate for you 3 to 5 lakh crores. 3 to 5 lakh crores. This is the presentation I gave and the whole analysis of Mumbai, Maharashtra. And then I showed how phase by phase, this 189 cities, I did micro financial analysis, micro cash flow analysis, technical analysis, all by the existing rules. And then we showed how in the first phase, we'll finish whatever is green, will become slum free within 4 years. And what is yellow is work in progress. In the second phase, more green, more yellow. Third, fourth, and fifth. And we showed step by step how it can happen. And I said, please put your most powerful bureaucrat to check my calculation. And the answer is it can be done. Now, all this I'm saying because where you see challenges, cities have slums, it's pathetic, this, that is your money making opportunity. If you get into it, instead of saying slum mein kaun jaye, I've come out alive and respected where the government wanted to change my scheme, the local people went on strike and said, if Mukesh Mehta ka scheme change karega, we'll not allow any other. You can connect with it. And I'm just showing quickly the financial figures. Then we did a university complex design. Again, COVID time, I had nothing better to do. And I had this So this was 150 acres. And I said, I have to do something unique, smart, sustainable, inclusive, and said, use big words, then you have to perform. Problem? It's, it's, I'm challenged. I'm the guy, I'm at fault. So we said it has to be green, etc., undulating land. We wanted to do rainwater harvesting. So I created all these kind of collection areas for ponds, etc. Now, in this, can you really identify where the building is versus where the rest of the greens are? So you can't, because I have 198% of land area is green. We recycle water, we recycle solid waste, all of that. I'll just show you some of the buildings. So here you get off at the entrance, all the cars. Then it will take you through EV vehicle inside and drop you at different spots. I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I want to show you. This is all for your revision, so you don't forget. What can I say? Anyway, and then I had to design a convocation hall and an entrance administrative. So that's the administrative building. This is the convocation hall. I did biomimicry of oyster. I placed that oyster in the rainwater harvesting pond. Why oyster? Because when you come in as a student, you're a speck of sand. When you graduated, the college made a pearl out of it. So I created that whole convocation hall mimicking the oyster. I placed it in the rainwater harvesting pond. That rainwater harvesting pond would have exotic sweetwater marine life. In the administrative building basement will be a studio for visiting experts. Every week, for 1 week, you'll call experts like Karan to interact with you all, or Amitabh Bachchan, anyone. And they will interact with students, but their studio is in fact an aquarium. So while he has a studio, you can imagine the beauty of the fish itself. And the client liked it so much that they asked me to go put this completely, bury it in the water, submerge it, and we'll go through glass tunnels. So we created glass tunnels. And if it was not submerged, that's what it would have looked like. And this is that aquarium. And this is that auditorium. This is a high school. Every floor is a terrace garden. Every floor. So in your break, you come out, you're into a terrace garden. Because it's undulating land, we created social space and what you call them, uh, outdoor auditoriums, amphitheaters. We created those kind of spaces instead of creating sort of retaining. This is the College of Arts, Liberal Arts, etc. Every floor, green thing with. So in today's time, in our time, we needed those tables and chairs. I don't require a rectangle shape anymore. So why should I not have the freedom to sort of sit, fun, change the spaces? be it small, big, large, any group. But imagine if you could come out in every recess and be a part of the garden green on 6th, 7th, 10th floor. This is a library. The shape is inspired by infinity. We're saying the knowledge with us is infinite. It's for you to pick how much you want to. And on roof, there are these colored patches where students can sit. The rest is all green. I'm not describing this because of shortage of time. And this is a student hub. The idea is to integrate. So when I was here, we used to have Korean students, Assamese students, all these, and we Guju guys want to be with Guju. Koreans were outcast, South Indians were outcast, Assamese were outcast. Here we are saying, no, there's so much to learn from each of these cultures. Why should we not have it in the center and celebrate every festivity? So you celebrate Holi, Diwali, Eid, Appam, whatever they have, including international. And so we kept it in the center with the yin yang symbol, with green fountains and the paved area. You can even have a program. A student, you want to protest against all these teachers, protest over there. So all that kind of activities, there's bridge, this you create absolute top end thing. And then they said that we have to create world-class sports facility. So we created world-class sports facility. I don't know if I have it here. I think I removed that slide. But this is what that student hub would look like. And it's bamboo structure. And then this is the hostel building. Now I stayed in Maharishi Arvind Hall. Huh? Any of you staying there? Lucky guys. So I first time I come, I have these three common toilet bath spaces, and there are three chaps singing three different songs at the top of their voice. I thought I'd reached a madhouse. And then all sorts of mess food around there. Because they say you have to toughen up. I said no. As far as I'm concerned, students must feel they have a home away from home. They have to live comfortably. Our job is to academically train them, not to train them for military service. Let them go to NCC if they have to. So we created, each hostel is an apartment of 4 bedrooms. Each thing with a double bedroom, with an attached bathroom, with semi-partition, partition to the extent you want, and a living room. And every floor is a terrace garden up to the 20th. So you feel even on the 20th floor, and then we have we created a lock-in kind of Lego kind of system that we can have 15,000 students in this. And you can have fancy food, laundry, all that. Your job is to study. Your job is not to cook and learn how to wash your clothes. That's my thought. Huh? You can disagree. And this is that hostel building. So you can see the 4 rooms, a living room with a kitchenette, and from in 3 such apartments make 1 building. And you can enter the garden from any place to any place and imagine the camaraderie. Imagine the kind of bond that you'll create. And that is family. Not 40 rooms in one place, all people in their own little world. That is the terrace access. This is a conference hotel, and every alternate floor is a terrace garden. So it's only rooms on one side. On the 25th floor, I have a skywalk and 50 feet projecting out, 15 meters projecting out, glass bottom swimming pool. Because this is a conference hotel, so before, after conference, the entertainment that goes in. This with the same uniform. I'm not discussing, that's the skywalk. That's the glass bottom. And this is a slum come refugee housing that I'm doing. And people are saying this is likely to become one of the best projects in India. They're saying that. I don't know where it will go. So this is in Thane, the present Chief Minister's constituency. This is the housing where they get everything that the rest of the people. These are commercial complex designs that we have created. This building is particularly important because this is Thane railway line. That's supposed to be bullet train. I had 10 stories parking and a few hundred meters long. I've created the biggest digital screen in the world, 82,000 square feet. It can be 4, 8, 12 megapixels, 16 megapixels. But the kind of revenue it generates for the developer, and because of, I'm not showing you the whole design, I don't have the time, where the prices were 15,000 rupees per square foot, after looking at the design, marketing people shot up the pricing to 25,000 rupees per square foot. The developer was supposed to make 2,000 crores in profit, instead of which his profit shot up to 6,000 crores. But this is Chief Minister's constituency. When we showed this design to the Chief Minister, he said, you know Marathi, asa ho shakte ka? Can this happen or what? And we said, yes. So he increased my client's role from 45 acres to 112 acres. So his profits shot up to something like 20,000 crores. Now he had to pay my fees. And I had bullied him because I had helped him with funding. So I said, I'll charge you what our Council of Architects charge norms, okay, which nobody paid. So I said, I'll charge you that. Karo to sahi. After I did the design, the guy had not signed. So I said, boss, ye sab ho gaya. Design bhi ho gaya. What about my contract? What about my fees? He says, we have to talk about your fees. So what's there to talk? I'm like trying to intimidate him. He says, आपने बहुत कम charge किया है. So he gave me 1.5 times of what I had asked for. That's the point I'm trying to make. That if you keep on following the herd and not create your own path, then you're going to be compared to that herd. And so you have to constantly move towards doing bigger, better than your competition. You have to constantly evolve. And that's what it's done. This project, my fees, if I'm right, people say so, will be the highest paid to any architect anywhere in the world on a single project. I'm not going to name the, but that is opportunity now. I don't know how to use CAD. I who copy Mina's drawing to pass time, whatever exams are there, all that. If I can do it, many of you can. I'm here to inspire you to say, if this fellow can do it, anyone can. It's a matter of thinking, define your thought. Then what we did was, in retail, ground floor always sells at a very high price. But two upper floors start reducing price. So what did I do for the project? I created a skywalk on footpath, 1.5 floors high. But I say, please go up, escalator, elevator. But now what happens from this point, half a flight you go up, half a flight you go down. The prices of this property shot up. Money at the end of the day. I said, money matters, right? So this skywalk, then we beautified it. And we created a whole elevated street of 24 meters to overcome all the central business problems of all the cities. They'll have those thela gadis and all for cheap food. Here we are saying you can have a skating ring, entertainment, whatever you want. And I gave additional 3 hectares to the client. And whatever this street will cost, 6 times more than that will be his profit only from this side. Now, this street will service this side also. And then it spreads elsewhere. So, this becomes the best design, I'm told from Google research, the best design skywalk or an elevated street in the world. No rocket science here. The university design, I told the university operator, I said, why don't you look at other universities or Google and see if you got some better ideas? Maybe we can include them. 3 days later, he comes to me. He says, sir, I looked at it. There's not a single better design here from his perspective. And where he was going to charge 20 lakhs, so I'm raising my price to 25. He made money. 25,000 students, 1,250 crores extra. I'm talking money because ultimately it's money for which you're paid, not for your fancy design. There are enough technical people. Then this was another campus. I cannot give you the name of it. But I was asked to design campus and said they wanted this to be the best campus of its category in India. So this was the campus. These are the classroom towers, and this is the auditorium. And this is because they could not afford maintenance, we created forests, microforests. So it still looks green, etc. This is that campus. I didn't have to go to give presentation. Board approved the design without my presence. And one last slide. Is it this? Just press. It's a 700 seat capacity auditorium. And everything is in-house. Young architects, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year passed out of college, have done this. I just give them a vision, dream. So what have I learned in my life? I'm saying learn from the past, but question its relevance of today. I see up to today what the masters of last century have taught us being practiced year after year, day after day, when there is so much more software, technologies, thought processes, design thought processes, we're still to that area. And if Mukesh Mehta can change, trust me, all of you can start that. Understand the stakeholders. I made that mistake in the US, not in Dharavi. I had to deal with 60,000 families. Now, any slum that I go, be it airport, Beat Kibera of Nairobi. I'm called at various World Urban Forum, etc. And I have to just talk once and show what I believe in. And the rest you don't have to do. Think big. If you design 100 homes and I design one Dharavi project, I'm going to make more money. I'll give client the better. Both. So as far as possible, start not getting intimidated by large size projects and create an impact making. You have to be relevant to the world, not he too was an architect. Think about it. Now, of course, Madam has raised some questions. Unfortunately, each of those questions would require a session. So I'm going to bypass it. But should you want anything, I mean, I'd be happy to, in general, answers. In business, in what you call managing chaos, is one of the most important aspects of entrepreneurship. Nobody knows anything. We just managed, Karan and I just managed the chaos. We had to be here on time. But we came from commerce faculty area and everything was locked. But we had enough time. We turned around and landed here right at 2. That was managing chaos. That's of course because of him. Nothing to do. This. Thank you. Thank you.